Hey everyone, welcome to the Everyday Human Podcast. My name is Easton Taverna. Each day I'll share a reflection written by me and inspired by literature, poetry, music, movies, video games, and more. And after that, I'll share a prompt for you to write your own reflection. Together, we'll explore what it means to be human. Every month, we'll walk a new path, taking a look at life, death, the universe, and everything in between. Thanks for coming along. I'm glad you're here. For more, visit eastontaverna.com or join me on Instagram at _everydayhuman. It is April 6th. It's actually April 4th for me while I'm recording this, and it's a lot later than I usually record. Typically, I try to get my recordings in earlier in the day, but it is the weekend right now when I'm speaking to you from the past, and that is a time for yard work and family stuff, and we've just been at it all day, since about 8 in the morning. And I did get a lot done. I've got the tomato garden just about ready to be planted. We should hopefully be at our last frost later this week. I planted about 15 potatoes, so hoping for a good harvest later in the year. And I got some radish seeds in, some carrots. We chicken wired the lettuce bed because we have Greta the groundhog in the backyard who just devours it every year, but I think this should hopefully keep her out. I will leave more clover by the shed where she lives beneath it. I think she likes that. So usually when I cut it too low, she's probably looking for something else. Anyhow, yes, today's reflection is titled, "What More Could You Ask For?" And this one was inspired by a quote by Vincent van Gogh. And it was from a letter that he wrote to his brother, Theo van Gogh. And I say Van Gogh, I don't know if that's right. I've heard Van Gogh before, but I'm just going to say Van Gogh. I've heard it both ways, and if I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sorry. Okay, so I just had to look it up real quick. Vincent van Gogh is how many people in the U.S. say it. Van Gogh is more of a UK thing, but the Dutch pronunciation is the correct pronunciation, and it is more Vincent van Gogh. So there you go. You probably recognize the name when you hear it as Van Gogh if you're from the U.S. And yes, he was a Dutch Impressionist painter who became an icon of Western art after his death in 1890 at the young age of 37. In about 10 years, maybe a little longer, he created around 2,100 pieces of art. Throughout his life, he suffered some mental health issues and suffered from psychotic episodes and delusions, and he famously mutilated his own left ear with a razor. In the end, he shot himself in the chest to commit suicide in 1890, but long story short, it didn't work, and he was attended to by 2 different doctors, and he was visited eventually by his brother before dying of an infection from the wound. And apparently, according to Theo, his brother, his last words were, "The sadness will last forever." And that is a pretty tragic tale, if I've ever heard one. However, it seems he did find some happiness in his life. In his letters, particularly this one, where today's quote is from, he reflects on finding pleasure and beauty in life. In it sounds like he misses his brother quite a bit, and he says he wishes he could talk to him about art, but writing about it to each other will have to do. This was, again, in the 1800s, so their means of communication was quite limited. In the letter, that's not the quote that inspired today's reflection, he also says something I really like about art, which is, "Admire it as much as you can. Most people don't admire enough." And this, I think, was in response to his brother saying how much he liked a painting by Millet, I believe. Some of Van Gogh's most well-known paintings are Starry Night, the self-portraits with and without the bandage over his ear, the vase with 15 sunflowers, irises, and there are so many from him. I think my favorites would have to be the sower with setting sun and fishing boats on the beach. I think I might need to find some prints of those for my office. Okay, here is the quote that inspired today's reflection. Do go on doing a lot of walking and keep up your love of nature, for that is the right way to understand art better and better. Painters understand nature and love her and teach us to see. And then there are painters who never do anything that is no good, who cannot do anything bad, just as there are ordinary people who can do nothing but good. I'm getting on very well here. I've got a delightful home, and I'm finding it very pleasurable taking a look at London and the English way of life and the English people themselves. And then I've got nature and art and poetry. And if that isn't enough, what is? Okay, and here is my reflection. The traps are everywhere, and they'll snag your arm, trip up your feet, and drop you into the bottomless pit of desire if you are not careful. They'll sell you the water that falls from the sky, the opportunity to move your body beneath fluorescent lights, the chance to drive hours and pay money to sleep in a bed that is not your own. Not to mention the other more obvious things, the flashy things like the new phone, car, computer, headphones, gaming system, watch, streaming service, or shopping app, whatever it might be. And look, this is the world we live in. You shouldn't feel bad for having this stuff or wanting it. It's almost impossible to resist it because of the 24-hour targeted marketing campaigns so ingrained in our lives that we don't even notice them. That is, until you break the glass. How to do that? Take small breaks from the rat race of it all, or dig a little into the companies you've been supporting, and then learn who they've been supporting and why. You might find some shady dealings or policies there. Sometimes that's enough to begin chipping away at the very least. Get those fine hairline cracks to begin forming. But another way is to spend more of your precious attention and time, the things they want so much of, with nature, art, and poetry, with books and music outside in nature, if you're able. Sit by a creek on a hot day and stick your feet in the cool water. Go to a museum and look at art. Just stare at it, or go to a library and take out an actual physical book of art if you don't have one. And don't do this on your phone. It's too distracting. And then sit with it on a bench beneath a tree or on the shores of the ocean. Go to a local bookstore and buy a collection of poetry by a poet you don't know. Read it on your porch during a rainstorm and be opened to another's world by words, rhymes, and verse. These are the things that speak to the soul. Even if you've snagged your arm, tripped up your feet, or fell into that pit, you can always climb back up and step out to breathe in nature. Make art or look at it, read poetry or write it, and you'll see soon enough that it isn't the shiny, sparkling stuff being hawked at you day in and day out. Rather, it is the stuff that speaks to your soul that is enough. And there ends today's reflection. So thank you to Vincent van Gogh and his words this time, not his paintings, that got us to think for a little while. And you can think just a little bit further in your journal, on your napkin, or while looking out the window, or spending some time in nature taking a walk, with the following reflection question. What material goods have I been hung up on? When was the last time I spent time with nature, art, or poetry? I hope it hasn't been too long for you, and that you can find the stuff that is enough. And that's it for today, April 6th. I'll be back tomorrow, April 7th, with another reflection. Have a good one, and take care.